Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second lecture of our Snowday makeup. Now, I did have an activity planned to help introduce you to some of the common professional writing documents that you would likely encounter in the workplace. However, since we're not going to be able to do that activity with this video lecture, I will try to find some online sources to post for you, or I may just post a couple of examples for you so that you can kind of get a sense of what to expect. But for now, let's go over some of the basics of professional writing. The most common types of business documents you'll encounter. These include letters, memos, proposals, formal reports, and blogs and social media sites. And we're going to cover each one of those briefly. First, business letters. They are used to communicate with those that are outside of your organization or job place. This is generally considered to be a formal means of communication. They may be either digital or printed, and that's expanding for all kinds of letters. For example, one of the jobs that I've had to apply to this semester said that either mailed letters of application or emailed letters of application were both acceptable forms of communication. So it really is expanding, and both are considered formal. Some sample business letters, or some possibilities for business letters, would be, as I mentioned, letters of application, but it also includes complaint letters, letters of reference or recommendation, letters of inquiry, or where you would be asking for some kind of information, or a rejection letter of some kind. The qualities of these business letters. They are typically brief. They should be very clear. They should focus on impression forming. So remember, you're always focusing on building a particular impression, and that could be for yourself, or you may be writing so as to represent the company or your particular place of employment. They should be focused. They should focus on one, maybe two topics. Do not bring too much to one letter. Remember, you're writing with a particular purpose. They should be appropriate. Always think about who you are writing to. In some ways, think back to the listening lecture and think about who would be listening, or in this case, reading your message. How can you best formulate your message for their particular reading sensibilities? And finally, it should be professional. It should have all the hallmarks of professionalism. Well typed, spelling is appropriate, grammar is correct, just making sure that everything is represented in a professional manner. Now, business memos. These are used to communicate to those that are internal to the organization. So within your particular place of employment, that's where memos circulate. They are more informal than letters. Memos have the potential for just general communication that, think about them as written forms of conversation. They can be used to request information, provide congratulations, just exchange routine information, or to summarize meetings. Some of the characteristics of business memos include they are brief. That is a hallmark of most professional communication. They are in many cases digital. Not always, but in some cases they are digital. They are formatted in some standardized way. Now, this is generally going to rely upon the particular conventions of your place of employment. But in many ways, just think about it as long as it's organized and there's some clear form of standardization, then you're likely going to be okay. They should be focused. They should not deal with too much information at once. They should be quick to prepare. So memos should not take very long at all. And they should be quick to read. You should be able to organize business memos in such a way that they can be skimmed for the best possible information for what you need your audience to see, and then we can move on with our lives. Now, business proposals are a different story. These are used to obtain business, and that could be business that is solicited, where someone says, we're looking for someone to perform a particular task. Let's have some business proposals. This is a response then to request for proposals, or RFPs. But they may also be unsolicited. And that's often from within the organization. It often originates from within the particular company or place of employment to say that a particular to say that individuals could bring something new to the business, that they could improve upon the business in some way. And it generally involves a lot of people with special skills. One person cannot fulfill the promises of most business proposals. It really does take a team effort. Some characteristics of business proposals. They generally follow a set of instructions or guidelines, especially if they're solicited business proposals. There will be clear guidelines as to what is expected. They should address the needs of the prospect. So those that would be on the receiving end of the business, what is it that they genuinely need? If it's within the organization, or if the soliciting organization has set out guidelines, there should be a clear established process for writing proposals, and that needs to be followed. It should be customized to the prospect. Sending out blanket business proposals is a bad move. You have to show that you are putting enough care into your work to directly appeal to their particular needs. And they should be concise. That doesn't necessarily mean short, keep in mind. There's a difference between short and concise. When you think about something that is concise, it means that you still fulfill all of the necessary tasks and information without leaving off anything important and without spending too much time explaining things. Making sure everything is clear and to the point, but not necessarily short. Now, brief reports. These are generally internal. They update readers on organizational issues. They can document progress that has been made on a particular project. They're often used to guide decision making, especially if it's still within a particular project or plan of attack. Decision making requires lots of information. So brief reports are not necessarily in-depth information, but they're often high quantities of information with consistent updating to help make a particular flow of decision making. They can also be used to justify expenditures of money or other resources. So a brief report might be saying, I received this particular grant for business travel. Here are the receipts and the total cost for my hotel and for my plane tickets. If there's anything else, feel free to contact me. A brief report gives the information that is needed and nothing else. On the other hand, a formal report discusses the status of a complex problem. And I say problem specifically because these formal reports often do deal with some kind of larger organizational issue that needs to be addressed. And it's to offer solutions to that problem. Okay, problems must have solutions in a business context, otherwise the business will go under. So how do you find those solutions? You have to rely on original research. Now, in some cases, secondary research might be appropriate. That means finding news articles or previously published journal articles. However, in most cases, you actually do have to design a study and perform it in order to get the research that's needed to really explain and understand the problem. They are longer than most other reports. Formal reports are likely the longest business document you would ever encounter. And they generally follow a strict template or format that is unique to your organization. Now, of course, the same hallmarks of professional communication in written form do apply. They expect good spelling, they expect excellent grammar, they expect it to be typed, they expect it to be clear and easy to read. However, there will be some kind of format that you need to follow dependent upon your organization or institution. Now, one thing that is relatively new to the professional environment is the use of social media. Blogs are one such form of social media. They are used to disseminate information quickly and widely. It's kind of a shared public online journal, keeping readers updated as to what's going on. It's all chronological, so you can clearly see the progress that's occurring. And it offers low-cost, real-time connectivity to consumers. Blogs are very, very cheap ways to get information to virtually all of your customers. Now, blog writing does differ from other forms of writing, so it's important to keep in mind that in blog writing for professional communication, it's often okay to express an opinion. You should be writing for your readers. How are they going to be able to best read and discover your information? Provide lots of resources for them. Make sure that they can find what they need to find with reference to your organization. Be simple and brief. Don't overdo it. And write like you speak. Be appealing to the everyday consumer. That's an important part of blogging. Now, social media writing as a whole, you can make an impact by making sure your updates have a clear purpose, balance your self-promotion with entertainment. Don't be conceited and uppity with self-promotion if you're not also going to in some way engage your audience. Be careful not to over-disclose as well. It can be easy to say too much on social media. You should never fill in all of the blanks for your readers either. You should keep them wanting a little bit more so that they keep coming back to check on your progress. That way you have not just one-time readers, you have consistent readers and therefore potentially consistent customers. Try posting questions to start conversations. Sometimes you don't have to be the one to continue the dialogue on your website or social media platform. Sometimes posting a simple question can have customers engaging with each other, and provided it doesn't get out of hand, is actually a great way to spread word of your social media expertise and of your professional communication as a whole without really doing nearly as much. One thing to keep in mind is to follow online cultural norms. This will vary a little bit between social media platforms, but in general, try to make sure that you are professional without necessarily being seen as off-putting. Be a smart social media user, whether that be for you individually or for your professional organization. So successful business writing involves determining what you need, your objectives, and analyzing your audience needs. Compiling facts and other important data. You need those in order to make good business decisions and write effectively. Develop a logical structure. Make sure it's going to appeal to everyone involved. Write a draft. Drafting is an incredibly important part of the process because you need to get the basic thoughts out there before you revise the document until it's clear and concise. Make sure you get everything out on paper, then start to narrow it down. This concludes the second lecture for the Snowday. I'll have the unit memo assignment up here shortly. Thank you all very much.